Hello, everybody. Today we have David with Living Waters Wellness Center. He hosts 10 days wellness retreats where people come from all over the world to heal from their symptoms. One of the main tools that he uses is a colon hydrotherapy, something most people have no clue about, including me. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. So we as Idahoans have the largest colon hydrotherapy facility, and you guys started in 2009. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so it all came about as kind of one of those divine things. Over a period of time throughout my life, I've been sick, not sick, a lot of allergies in the early days, severe asthma where I was like gasping, hoping to get the next breath. By the time I was 30, I loved to play basketball. I played all the time, but I was getting so it'd take me an hour just to get warmed up, loosen up to play. And I was like, well, this is really weird. Why do I hurt so bad? Why does it take so long? I mean, I would shuffle like an old man when I get out of the morning, get in the shower and let the heat kind of loosen me up. And I thought, God, this is crazy. I'm 30. What am I going to be like when I'm 50, right? Yeah. And so, I started going, finally, I had a lot of psoriasis. I had severe acne. I had psoriasis that literally blew up on my arm. It was like, dang, and I had some fungus grow on my feet. It was like, what is going on with me? Remember, I was this doctor's office. He said, no, that's not fungus. I go, yeah, I know it is. And I need a powerful drug because what I'm doing right now is I need something to knock this back because I just can't stand it anymore. And he says, okay, well, and then I went off and I figured I got to figure out on my own how to heal myself. And there was kind of 3 events that happened in 1991.
Just a moment.
Whoops.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Siri's talking to us.
Siri, yeah. That's weird. So good thing for edit tools.
1990.
Yeah, so 1991. So I read a book called Eat Right or Die Young that my wife's grandmother gave me. And she was a person that would just, uses just natural things all the time. And so I just began paying attention, joined a company that sold nutritional supplements, started taking them. First time I taken nutritional supplements. Got to start traveling around the world and meeting people with a lot of health shows and health fairs and so forth. And I was just kind of got to meet the right person at the right time and I was open enough to either listen or grab the book or read or whatever. I mean, this is pre-internet, right? So things weren't quite as fast. Yeah. So, and then I was always concerned about having cancer. So I was doing a lot of research on cancer. Of course, eventually I did discover I had cancer, but by that time I knew what I would do. And I went on to heal my own cancer. Kind of during that time, I met a lady that back in the 90s, I was told, hey, David, this iridologist in Dietrich, Idaho said to me, David, how often do you go to the bathroom? I go, I don't know, once every other day, once every 3 days, maybe. I don't know, it just depends. She goes, that's a problem. I go, really? So how often should you go? You should go. Otherwise, stuff just is putrefying and it's undigested matter and it's affecting the rest of your body. I'm going like, okay, so what do? Well, you do a colonic. I go, what's a colonic? Like most people like, what's a colonic, right? And so she explained it to me. I says, okay, I'm always willing to try anything once, right? So now there was no colon hydrotherapist that I could find in those days. Well, actually, you know what? Thinking back, there was one. Because I was in real estate. I remember like this person does colonics. And I was like, oh, that's really weird. Now, what does this really mean? Anyway, make a long story short, I figured it out, set up my own system in my home and started doing it. Then I found I had cancer and I met this lady who did a 10-day process. Long story short, my father-in-law was diagnosed with cancer. He had 4 months to live after I'm kind of jumping all over the place here, but sorry for that. But anyway, he lived another 12 years after doing a process.
That's amazing.
And I was like, wow. And not only that, but it changed him so much mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I mean, he was really upset with me when he went off to do this. He came back and he said, he hugged me, he said, love me. And he was very frugal with his money. He agreed to pay for all his kids to go through this process.
Wow.
Now I had just already, 2 years prior to that, I had taken care of my cancer, or so I thought. But I knew I had something going on in my liver. I was like, gosh, my right side was always hurting, always painful. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this 10-day process. So anyway, I did that. And then I just knew like, okay, all the things that I had gathered in my home, crystal healing bowls, a fire infrared sauna, all these other tools. And this was like a significant synergistic piece of tools that we had to put together.
Yeah.
So I thought, great, my daughter's getting out of college. This will be a great business for her. And so that was kind of the genesis of it, was kind of like my experience in healing from all these different, I mean, the list is long. I have a webinar idea I've done that I go through everything. The list is long.
Awesome.
So I kind of, my joke is, okay, God, you gave me this thing to figure out how to heal from. And I think it was really, part of it was like, I have empathy for a lot of people that come in, especially I get a lot of moms that come in, they've been put on anxiety medication or depression medication. You know, they've been told just all in their head.
Yeah.
And it's not unusual that, well, yeah, I've had that. I know what you're going through, and this is why. It's because let's talk about your poop. How often do you poop?
Yeah.
And they're kind of like, what? No one's ever asked me that question before.
That's
so
why I ask my kid that all the time. Like, we struggled with my youngest. I have 5, and my youngest was actually diagnosed in the hospital. He was 10 pounds when he was born, and he was 2 weeks early. And they put him in the NIC unit because of his oxygen levels. And we come to find out that it was a dairy issue. And so that was my first question with him. Every time he would struggle with something, I was like, when's the last time you pooped? In that, so it's like, yeah, I relate to that most definitely. Right. Yeah. So what kind of, with all your background and everything, what do you think are your unique skills that you help bring to the Treasure Valley to help with people?
Well, especially in these times, people have a lot of fear and anxiety, and these viruses and bacteria that there's always going to be virus and bacteria.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing that we offer here is, look at, your colon is a direct reflection of what's going to be externally. So if you have anxiety, depression, that's all transverse colon stuff. I just talked to a young lady, she's 17, and she's severely got a lot of angst, and she's trying to jump out the car when it's going. I mean, she's like really wanting to take her life, right? Transverse colon issue. So 90% of your serotonin gets made here. And I know her family very well, and I called her mother. She lives in California. I says, come up, let's treat this. I've seen people change. Have been a bipolar. They've got their bowels back, and they've got the rest of their body cleansed. If we get the body cleansed and you give it the nutrition it needs, you're going to heal. Yeah. I don't care if it's cancer. I don't care what it is. We've had thousands of people come through here, and they've healed. I mean, really fast on our 10-day process. So I call it the 4 natural laws of healing. You got to clean the colon, you got to clean the small intestine, you got to clean up the blood, then you got to give it perfect nutrients. If you do those 4 things, you're going to get well.
Yeah.
So I think right now, a lot of people, they definitely are angst. They have a lot of nervousness. So understand that, okay, you have been made in God's image, and you have the innate ability to heal from within. I just did a podcast with Dr. Bernard Jensen's daughter-in-law. Now, no one knows who he is, but he wrote about 50 books. He was a guy in the 1929, healed himself from tuberculosis.
Wow.
Went on to become the father of basically colon hydrotherapy, mm-hmm. and treated 350,000 people in his day.
That's amazing, especially back then.
And he makes the statement, and I've met some of his former sons and daughters of clients of his, but so just short story on Dr. Bernard Jensen, he treated 350,000 people and says, look, if you want to get well, there's no doubt in my mind, you first got to treat the bowel first. So the bowels are like the foundation to a home. You would not go out, let's just say you have a house, and let's say the second story window is cracked. It's broken. The frame's like cattywampus. Would you hire a painter and a carpenter to come out and just putty over this and then put in a new piece of glass and paint it? No. You'd say, what caused this?
Yeah.
And you look down, you go, oh, the foundation's cracked. Oh, well, what do we do about that? Well, we fix the foundation. So the colon is our foundation. Did you know that you have more neurons in your intestinal tract than your spinal column?
Wow.
Every organ in your body has a nerve that goes to the colon. So whether it be your heart, your spleen, your eyes, your liver, your kidneys, your hands, your arms, your shoulders, your neck, all of them connect to the intestinal tract.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah.
So how those neurons fire and wire determines your eventual, how you live. So think of neurons like cell phones. If I cover up this cell phone with poop, how much of a signal do I get?
Well, would you even want to touch it?
Exactly. So let's just think about I think it's kind of hilarious. Well, it's kind of sad too, but people are buying lots of bread right now, which is kind of crazy. Bread and cereal and sugar. Those are the big things missing in the grocery stores. Those are the worst things you can eat.
Worse, yes.
And so think about that bread when it gets, if you just clump up and squeeze some bread and put some sugar on it, right? And then that stuff gets really gooey and gluey. And in the gut, there's literally, think of like shag carpet. It's called villi. If these junctures are tight, the vitamins and minerals will drop through here. But if it's covered up with old gluey stuff, bread,
right,
been sitting there for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, or maybe 20 years,
ugh,
30 years. Seriously, the average person's packing around 12 to 15 pounds of poop. That's the average.
that's gross.
Average person that comes through our 10-day process loses 10 to 15 pounds. And it's not fat, guys. It's just poop.
Oh.
So people have food allergies. Oh, I have a food sensitivity. No, you don't. You got a thing called leaky gut. What's a leaky gut? Well, these junctures got big. And then food particles are dropping into the bloodstream, and the body's going like, what? It just hit us.
Yeah.
And now the body attacks basically itself. So yeah, you have an autoimmune reaction. They'll give you a label. You'll feel good about yourself. Oh, I have lupus. I have fibromyalgia. I have leaky gut. I have food sensitivities. No, you're toxic.
Yeah.
So how do you fix toxicity? You do colon hydrotherapy. You clean out the gut. Now you give it the nutrition. These gut junctures will heal very, very quickly.
Your body's an amazing machine. I mean, everybody says if you take care of it, that's the thing.
I know it.
You take care of it.
So I got a YouTube channel as well. I got tons and tons of these stories. My dad was one. He was told 12 years ago he had 2 years to live because he had prostate cancer.
Uh-huh.
His PSA number was 38. His Gleason number was 9. The highest is 10. When you get 10, they say, nothing we can do. Now, I never believe there's nothing we can do. I believe, because I've seen so many amazing people come in here so sick and heal, that you can heal anything.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, I says, Dad, you just got to keep cleansing. Now, a little background, my dad, he's a John Deere mechanic. They never use gloves when they put their hands in the solvents. So his liver's really toxic.
Yeah.
So Dad, keep cleansing. So he did. He also started spot radiation. He says, I'm not going to do surgery. I'll allow you to do spot radiation, but I'm also going to do this cleanse that my son does. Within 5 or 6 days, the doctor actually looked at him and says, wow, you're changing so fast. You just want to do your own thing? And my dad says, well, I think I'll do both. But he changed so fast. What's very interesting about this story is that 15 years prior to that, he had a tumor behind his left ear. Now, it was benign, but they took it out. His whole left side of his face drooped.
Oh.
He could not blink his eye for 15 years. Could not chew or taste food for 15 years on his left side of his face. His face was twisted.
Uh-huh.
After his fourth 10-day cleanse, during that time, he came in. Well, first of all, the PSA number dropped. They says the best we can get it down to is 7 or 8, but in 2 years, it'll probably be back. There'll be nothing we can do.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you got 2 years, dude.
Oh.
This is 2009. His PSA number dropped to 0.00347. It's been there ever since.
Wow.
He did another 10-day cleanse a year after that. And that's the time when he walked into my office, took off the glasses, and he looked in, and he says, look at this, David. And he winked.
That's an amazing
I can taste food now on this side of my mouth. And his face had shifted.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I got
so what's the myth about your industry? Do you have big myths? Like, I mean, your industry, at least to me, it's kind of a new thing. Like, what is this? Are there big myths within your industry, or is it just a broad myth in healthcare in general?
Prior to 1920, when you went to have surgery in the hospitals, they did enemas on you, clean you out before you had surgery. There was a book written in about 1920 that basically said the colon is nothing. It's just a pipe.
Mm-hmm.
Since about 2007, when the book came out called The Second Brain, that's when all this shift started changing. And now you're seeing a lot of books about gut health, right?
Right.
Prior to that, no one ever talked about gut health. They just treated symptoms. They're still treating symptoms.
Uh-huh.
Not bad to treat symptoms. If you got something severe that you need to treat it for, kind of take away the pain, whatever, for a hot moment, great. But it's not going to heal you, right? So some of the myths. So it really got its. Like I say, Dr. Bernard Jensen in the 60s really took this to the forefront. He was treating 160 people a day on his ranch in California.
That's a lot of people.
100, I know. So in this podcast I did with Dr. Ellen, amazing story, how she became to know the Bernard Jensen family was that she had scoliosis. So as a young girl, they broke her back and put rods in it. She's my age. And then as a teenager, she got in a car accident and broke the rods and broke the back.
Mm-hmm.
Then she was flat in a bed for like 6 months. They'd flip her every 6 hours.
Oh.
So she thought, man, if I ever get out of this and never figure out how to heal this, I'm going to like tell the world. So she was in the Midwest. Somehow she got to California. Don't remember exactly that part of the story, but met the Jansen family, did his treatment, went to work for him, helped him write a lot of his books. He wrote 50 some books. And so she completely healed. She has no pain whatsoever. But the other amazing story is Bernard Jensen himself.
Yeah.
So Bernard Jensen. Oh, by the way, my dad, guys, 86. He can do anything a 50-year-old can do.
That's awesome. I love that.
So Bernard Jensen, at age 88 years of age, got prostate cancer, and the doctor says, "You're too old for chemo, and so probably nothing we can do." He said, "Okay." So he went and did his own process and healed his prostate cancer. And prostate cancer is really one of the easier ones to heal, quite frankly. But then about 6 months later, he was in a car and someone hit him from behind. And when that happened, that car accident caused him to be paralyzed from his waist down.
Oh.
He's 88 years of age. He gets down to 88 pounds. Now, if it was your dad or your mother, 88 pounds, maybe you make funeral arrangements.
Yeah, that's a real frail body.
Doctor said, be one lucky boy to heal from this. He says, well, I guess I'm one lucky boy. So he had to make a decision. He had another book to write. This is interesting because all his other books were on nutrition.
Uh-huh.
This book was different. But first of all, what happened? He goes to North Idaho, calls a friend. He wanted to get away from everybody because he's very popular. He called his friend, Dr. Mike. He says, Dr. Mike, come over and be my coach. And what did Dr. Mike coach him through? Jensen's own process. Rule number one. Everyone needs a coach.
Oh yeah, totally. I fully agree.
So he stays away for about a year, and he did lots and lots of cleansing, lots of broth soups, lots of nutrition, lots of reflection and journaling. And his last book is really all about the emotional component to healing. So emotions are what manifests into dis-ease, and that's what creates the physical manifestation of what you're reflecting.
Oh, definitely. I think a lot of people are seeing that right now, especially with everything that they're watching on the news or on Facebook, and our world is just in this downturn of fear. This is what I'm seeing, and it's just bringing this whole cloud of, like, I feel like it's the winter blues times 10, and it's just how you get out of it. It's the emotions are running, and so people are turning to food, and they're eating the junk, they're eating the bread, and and it's going to show in a little bit. As soon as we come out of this, it's not going to be a pretty thing.
We now know, because quantum physics has proven this, and this has really come about in the last, to the forefront big time, since about 2003 or 4, when a movie called The Secret and then What the Bleep Do We Know came out. There's been lots of studies. Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Lynn McTaggart, they're all bringing that to the forefront. And we teach this here on our 10-day cleanse, because the first thing, when people walk in the door first day, I just talk about, okay, what's your intention? What miracle do you intend on having? Mm-hmm. Now, most people, like I say, they come here very, very sick, a lot of them, not all of them. We get healthy people just like you and I. But they kind of like have this moment like, what? It's like, and I actually show them how their body changes like that based upon thought. And if I can get you to buy into that, we can change the chemicals within your body, all your cells. Because when you do get fear, when you feel fear, think about how your whole body feels.
Yeah, you're tense.
Yeah. Think about what happens when you feel joy, or the highest vibrational emotion, love. Okay. You cannot break the change of that vibration. That vibration is one of the highest. If you put love through all of your body, your autonomic nervous system, the chemicals within change like that.
Yeah.
So it's really important to understand that as part of the healing process. So I don't take these people. I have people that come in that still have their story and want to keep their story. Mm-hmm. They've been sick for a long time, and that's their story, and they want to keep it. We don't want to take those clients, because I want people who say, I'm willing to change. I'm willing to believe there's another way.
Yeah, I'm done with this. I'm ready.
Yeah.
So
So
right
yeah,
now, how can the viewers support you and your business with everything that's going on?
we're open. Come on in. First of all, they should watch, the best thing I tell people to go watch our webinar. We have a webinar called healingtheincurables.com.
Okay.
Look at, we can help everybody. We can decrease sick care costs overall if we just colon hydrotherapy by itself. And
Mhm.
it's cheap. Colon hydrotherapy is about $100 a session. We have different packages. Okay. But watch it and watch it with your kids. This video is made so that a 6-year-old can understand. It's really simple. 4 natural laws. If you can remember those 4,
Yeah.
stand that. Yeah. So, and we have, and by anyone watching this, here's my offer today. If anyone's watching this, reference this, what you just put out there, and come in. I'll give you a free far infrared biomat session or a free, if you want to do a free foot bath, great, whichever, just choose one. Come in, we'll give you a little tour, walk you through it, show you the colon hydrotherapy beds. In the video and on our website at livingwaterscleanse.com, there is a video. It shows you how it's done. It's so super easy. It's very private. No one's going to see your private parts. It's all covered up. It's super, super easy. It's just you're going to the bathroom for about an hour, about 15 gallons of water in and out. And when you get done, most people say, God, I feel lighter and refreshed. And so if you want to stay in these times, we need our brain, we need our bodies, we need our immune system up. So you could go, okay, so, I mean, really, truly, I went to Japan in 2003 when China was having the SARS epidemic.
Ugh.
I had a hole in my back from the cancer I was pulling this big. I had an open wound. I got on a plane, but I had pumped my immune system up. It's all about the immune system.
Mm-hmm.
So those people who are dying are the ones that there's mentioned. Their immune system is compromised. Quickest, fastest way to improve immune function, do colon hydrotherapy. It's been proven over and over. So you mentioned myths. There are myths out there on the Mayo website. There's one, it's just hilarious, that colon hydrotherapy, you'll die from it. There's not been one proven case ever that you can die from colon hydrotherapy. Someone, please show me one. There's not. It'll put a hole in your colon. It will not. Can't. The rectal tube is the size of a pencil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It only goes in about this far. It's water. You can adjust how fast the water goes in. We just trickle it in. But I tell you what can kill you is if you leave old pockets of diverticuli in your gut.
Yeah.
That can kill you eventually. So, and how do you heal that? Well, you got to dissolve it. How do you dissolve it? Water's pretty easy.
Yeah.
So that's what we know to be true over the last 12 years-ish.
That's awesome. So what is your favorite thing? I'm asking everybody since we're located in the Treasure Valley. I want to know everybody's favorite thing about the Treasure Valley.
Oh, yeah. My favorite thing, I came here in 1976, and I remember phoning my mother and saying, my gosh, everyone's so friendly.
You know, that's the unanimous answer, and I absolutely love it.
Now, if you want to stop growth, I think we all become unfriendly.
Oh, yeah.
People are complaining about people coming here. Just don't be friendly.
Right? You know, I mean, you can crawl in your hole and you can be quiet and whatever and not be friends with people. But especially right now, it's like, you know, I had a choice to make. I could have, you know, I had this prompting. Something told me I needed to do this for people, you know, to help small businesses and everything. Because to me right now, it's not so much about the sickness. It's the sickness is there. It's going to happen. But what about what's going to happen to the economy and the you know, us, the small businesses that run and are feeding our families, and how can it help them right now? I mean, I went through 2008 and that was not fun, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I tell employers, I tell them, I says, look, I've had so many employees come here and the biggest complaint is brain fog. And I remember calling one employer to get permission because this gal missed so much work. I said, look, dude, you're not paying her $10 an hour. Your effective rate is probably 50 because she's probably working at, you know, 1/10 of what she's able to, and she's going to be changed so much afterwards. You're going to have a different employee. So in these times when we, you know, have to run lean, and you need to have your brain functioning. And brain, it's all transverse colon. And that's the biggest complaint I see coming here. Everyone's got brain fog, but they clear it, and they clear it pretty doggone fast.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate taking the time with me.
Yeah.